First of all, I would like to apologize for coming late. My driver woke up late today with the traffic jam. And anyway, we shall start with our annual general meeting. First and foremost, thank you for spending your time coming here for the annual general meeting of KPJ Healthcare Bardai. And we are indeed very delightful and happy to announce to you the financial result for 2011. 2011 was indeed a remarkable year for KPJ Group. We recorded a double digit of revenue growth of 15.3%, translated to 1.91 billion, and it was the best performance ever in 30 years of KPJ Group in the industry. The profit before zakat and tax was up to 21.8%, translated to 204.6 million. And we also scored a 20.8% rise in net profit attributable to shareholders, amounted to 143.67 million. And of course, Malaysian operations still become the major contribution to the group income, which comprises of almost 90%, with revenue rising by 12.1%, amounted to 1.72 billion ringgit. We also recorded a healthy total dividend of 12.1 cents per share. And apart from the superb financial performance in 2011, we also managed to bag numerous awards. We won the best performing stock, highest return to shareholder over 3 years from the age 100 billion club. We also been named as the healthcare service provider of the year 2011 by Frost & Sullivan. And we also won the Innovative Leadership in Globalization under the Healthcare Category Award from Malaysian Institute of Directors. So ladies and gentlemen, in today's AGM, you're going to hear a lot of the increased term used. So we will assure you to have a pleasant presentation. So you guys just sit back, relax and enjoy. So I pass the mic to my director, Cik Nur Izzati.
Okay, thank you, thanks you Rashid. Okay, now we proceed to the corporate profile, KPJ corporate profile. KPJ Healthcare Bardai is the leading healthcare service provider in Asia. KPJ earns its annual billion ringgit turnover in fiscal 2007 with revenue totaling 1.1 billion and continue to achieve new record in subsequent years, which is 1.27 billion in 2008, 1.46 billion in 2009, and 1.65 billion in 2010. KPJ achieved a new record high in 2011, ending the year with total revenue of 1.91 billion and pre-tax profit of 204.6 million. Okay, KPJ have awarded with many awards. Among of them is Best Performing Stock, highest return to the shareholders over 3 years, trading services in July 2011 from the H billion ringgit class. And the second one is the most outstanding healthcare provider in Asia, 2011 by Global over 50 Housing Healthcare 900 in November 2011. KPJ embarked on many initiatives to improve the quality of care to customers, including the certificate of Malaysian Society for Quality in Health in 2011. There are 11 KPJ hospitals have been accredited by MSQH, which are KPJ Johor, KPJ Ipoh, KPJ Ampang Puteri, KPJ Damansara, KPJ Selangor, KPJ Seremban, KPJ Perdana, KPJ Kajang, KPJ Penang, Kedah Medical Center, and KPJ Tawakal. Okay, here is Board of Directors. Chairman is Kamaruzaman Abu Qasim. He was appointed at 12 January 2011, and currently he was the President and CEO of the Johor Corporation. And then the Managing Director is Datin Paduka Siti Saadiah Sheikh Bakir. She was appointed at 1st March 1993, and Datin Paduka is also the Director of Wakaf An-Nur Corporation Berhad. It's a non-government organisation which I will bring you later about this non-government organisation. Okay, here is the network of KPJ Hospital. KPJ Healthcare Berhad operating the country largest network of 20 private specialist hospital in Malaysia and 2 hospitals in Jakarta, Indonesia. Okay, for this 2012, the KPJ also will opening the new hospital still in development. 7 hospital, KPJ Kelang Specialist Hospital, KPJ Padang Gudang, Pasir Gudang Specialist Hospital, KPJ Muar, KPJ Perlis, KPJ Pahang, KPJ Specialist Hospital Bandar Datuk On, and also Sabah Specialist Hospital. But in this May 2012, the KPJ Kelang Specialist Hospital have been opened to the public. Okay, here the statistic of the hospital. In 2007, it's only 7 hospital, but it increased by year to year into 2011. Okay, this is the statistic of outpatient and inpatient. Okay, in 2011, KPJ Hospital treats about 2.4 million outpatients and over 240,000 inpatients. It increased from year 2007 to 2011. Okay, we move to the KPJ core values. There are 5 core values that we implement to the KPJ Healthcare Berhad, which are ensuring safety, delivering service with courtesy, performing duty with integrity, exercising professionalism at all times, and striving for continuous improvement. Okay, for the KPJ mission, KPJ mission is to deliver quality healthcare service. They will serve to provide coordinated medical service to all customers across a continuum of care. And then next, the KPJ vision to become the preferred healthcare provider. KPJ aspires to be the lifelong companion of its customer healthcare journey, sharing their experiences and joy of life, treating them with compassion and care, sympathizing with their loss while helping them in every inch of the way in their healthcare needs. Okay, for the related party transaction, the company obtained a shareholder mandate to allow the group to enter into recurring related party transaction. As set out in the Bursa Malaysia listing requirement and company's article of association, a director who has an interest in the transaction should abstain from deliberation and voting on the relevant resolution in respect of such transaction at the board. Okay, here is the list of the related party transaction. You can see. Okay. Next, also the list of the related party transaction. Okay, then we move to the corporate social social responsibility, CSR. KPJ Healthcare Bardai is focusing on 4 key areas, which are community, marketplace, workplace, and environment. They approach these 4 key areas through 5 ways. First, community engagement. They do the program such as health awareness programs and educating the public with the aim of the develop of healthier society. And then community outreach, integrating CSR by reaching out to the indigent and underprivileged through financial literacy, health, and volunteer support. And then accountability, identify and implement best practice, prioritize patient safety, and uphold stakeholders' trust and confidence. And then empowering people and also environmental protection. From this CSR, one of the KPJ major efforts is Klinik Wakaf Anur, which are the where the needy can see the basic medical care that would normally be beyond their reach. The focus, the Klinik Wakaf Anur is provided medical assistance to low-income patients, those with the monthly income below 1,000 at a nominal fee of 5 ringgit. The focus of the Klinik Wakaf Anur is on delivering basic medical care to them, so they may lead to the healthier life and in doing so promote a more productive nation. At the end of 2011, Klinik Wakaf Anur has network of 15 charity clinics throughout Malaysia and 1 charity hospital, which is Hospital Wakaf Pasir Gudang, and plan to open 2 additional clinics in 2012. Now we move to the financial operational highlights that be presented by our chairman, Tan Sri Rashid.
Thank you, Cik Isati, for the presentation of the background of the KPJ Group. So moving on to the next slide is the financial and operational highlight for the KPJ Group performance in 2011. So first we look at the turnover of the company. The turnover is increased by 254 million, which is about 15% increment compared to 2010. And with profit before taxation is increased by 36 million, which is about 22%. And profit after taxation increased by 38 million, which is also about 22%. On the share capital of KPJ Group also increased by 25,076 million, which is about 4% compared to 2010. Earning per share increased by 3.74 cents, about 70 cents. But the dividend rate is decreased a bit to 6%. In 2010, it was 30%, but in 2011, it was 24%. However, the shareholder fund also increased by 124,306 million, which is about 16% compared to 2010. The net tangible asset increased by 15%, and also the economic value added of the company increased by 13%. Now we look at the statement of comprehensive income, profit and loss of the KPJ Group. The revenue of the KPJ Group in 2011 was recorded at 1.9 billion compared to 1.6 billion in 2010. The gross profit increased in 2011 to 601 million compared to 503 million in 2010. The operating profit was recorded at 159 million, and profit net of tax after zakat and income tax expenses is 154 million. For the total comprehensive income for the year, it is increased from 2010 to 152 million, and the earning per share attributable to the ordinary equity holders of the company is recorded at 26.31 cents for the basic and 23.34 cents for the diluted. It was also a record increase compared to a 2010 performance. Now moving on to the statement of financial position. The total of non-current asset of KPJ Group increased in 2011 to 1.2 billion compared to 1.0 billion in 2010. The total of current asset also increased to 612 million in 2011, and the total asset recorded in 2011 is close to 1.9 billion compared to 1.6 billion in 2010. The equity and liabilities, under the current liabilities, it is reduced from 2010 to 597 million compared to 724 million in 2010. And the total of non-current liabilities increased a bit to 364 million, and the total liabilities for 2011 recorded at 962 million. And the net asset of KPJ Group at financial end of 2011 is 996 million compared to 863 million in 2010. And the total equity is recorded at 996 million, and the total equity and liabilities is recorded at 1.9 billion. Statement of cash flow. The operating profit before working capital changes is recorded at 228 million compared to 206 million in 2010, and the cash flow generated from operation is recorded at 257 million compared to 237 million in 2010, and net cash generated from the operating activities is recorded at 205 million. From the investing activities, the net cash used by the KPJ Group is 148 million, a reduction from 195 million in 2010. And under the financing activities, the net cash used from financing activities is recorded at 3.7 million, and the cash and cash equivalents at the end of the financial year of 2011 is recorded at 250 million, a rise from 197 million from 2010. And for the next presentation on the 2-point analysis and the score Atma ratios, so Cik Izzati will explain it to the shareholders.
Okay, now we move on to the 2-point analysis. Okay, with for the ratio return of equity, there are a decrease in 2011, which is 0.25% decrease, and then this was and then for the leverage gearing effects is 2010 is 17.9, in 2011 is 17.72. It decreased to 0.18. Okay, next is financial structure. From 2010 is 2.06, and then for 2011 is 2.04. then for the financial cost effect is no changes in between these 2 years. And then for the activity effects, there are slight decrease from 0.98 to 0.97. This was despite this in revenue in 2011, the activity effects reduced by every marginal by 0.01%. This mainly due to the large amount of asset purchase. And then for profitability effects, there are increase of 2%, and for tax effects is there are slight decrease in tax paid in 2011, which is reduced from 24.28% to 24.12%. Okay, for the attachment ratio, from 2010 is we get 2.01, and from 2011 is 2.22. Okay, this indicate that the KPJ Healthcare Bardai has a high probability of insolvency. It is mainly contributed by high total debt due to the large borrowing for expansion. As we know that the KPJ Healthcare Bardai is going to open 7 new hospitals in 2012. Okay, temporary situation of this. Okay, when the hospital is done with their development, so there will increase in revenue, so they will allow the company to service the loans. Okay, now we move on to the prospect, and it will be presented by our chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, our prospect for 2011 are bright as the group continues to show positive growth. And as mentioned by Cik Izzati, the expansion of new and existing hospitals are in the pipeline, and we also believe that the group will remain strong following the capacity expansion and widening of services. In 2011, we served close to 2.4 million customers, and with the opening of new and expansion of the existing hospital, we are targeting more patients to be served locally as well as internationally. And also the ratios of the asthma ratio shows the unfavorable ratio, but we strongly believe that it is a temporary situation because of the large fund is required for this expansion and growth. So we believe that once the hospitals are fully operated, up and running, so we managed to generate much income to service the loans that we have done in 2010 and 2011. With that, we end our presentation. Thank you so much. So we open the floor for the question and answer session.
Question, shareholders.
Thank you, Cik Ira. Okay, the dividend paid in 2011 is less by 6% compared to 2010. It's mainly because of the we increase our retained earning for this expansion and growing of the group. The retained earning is one of the mechanisms that we use to support the growth, apart from the borrowings that we have done to the financial sectors. So that is the reason. To fund the expansion and growth of the 7 coming new hospitals all over Malaysia.
Okay, shareholder.
Prof, explain.
Okay, so then we.
Dear Chairman and Director, very good morning to all of you. Now I have one question. Actually, how KPJ Group especially maintain their revenue, especially we can remind that the revenue about KPJ Group is still maintained and very strong, especially with other private hospital in Malaysia like Damal Medical Center, Pantai Medical Center and others. Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Cik Syuhada, for the question. So, we are strongly aware of our competitors in the industry, but we believe that our customer base is very strong. We have quite a number of loyal customers to the KPJ Group, and also we believe in serving the quality health standard to the customer and patient at the not to say affordable price, that the price that they are willing to pay. And if we look at the core values of the okay, this is actually the fundamental core of KPJ Group, where we ensuring the safety, delivering service with courtesy, performing duty with integrity, exercising professionalism at all times, and striving for continuous improvement. So these core values have proven to be workable for KPJ Group, and this is actually the trust of the customers when they seek for the medical treatment. They go to the KPJ. Thank you.
Shareholder? Yes.
Regarding to your non-current liabilities, why the amount for borrowing is large, increasing for 2012, and is it the revenue can recover that amount of borrowing?
Can you repeat the question?
The amount of borrowing for 2012 is increased. So is it revenue can recover the amount of large amount of borrowing, the increasing of borrowing?
Okay, first of all, the increasing of borrowing from 2010 to 2011 is because the KPJ Bardai is going to develop a new hospital, 7 new hospital. So, by this increasing of the borrowing is because the KPJ Bardai is taking Islamic commercial paper is more than 249 million. Okay, also and also the revolving credit 103 million. So even though the borrowing is increased, but the revenues still increase because the patient still going to hospital to get their treatments, and the with this consistent increase, so the KPJ will can cover their borrowing.
And if I can add a little bit on the borrowing, yeah, we believe that we can service the loan mainly because if we look at the leverage effect, so there is actually a slight decrease in the ratios, means that the financial cost structure for 2011 is improving. So by having a new branches open and operate, so that will be a catalyst to the revenue, further decrease the leverage effect to be a more efficient financial cost structure. Thank you, Sheikh Jaya.
Yes. Yes.
For income tax expense, it increased. So may I know what is the income tax expense?
Tax expense.
Okay, the increasing in income tax. Okay, the income tax increase because of the revenue increase.
Profit increase.
The profit.
I mean, it is a logic because once we increase our profit, so we increase our income tax, and we pay the income tax at the statutory rate of 25% to the government.
But actually, kalau tengok upon analysis, the tax effect though, the tax rate was a bit lower
Yeah.
in 2012 and 2011. So, which means that the company was able to save on tax
Marginal
a bit lah.
bit, yeah.
Lagi soalan? Yes.
In your net cash flow, sorry. Yeah, net cash flow. Why is your payables increases in cash flows generated from use in operation? Payables. And I have two questions actually.
Okay.
Okay, this is one case that had happened last year. My best friend's nephew died because of dengue. He was admitted in KBJ.
Which hospital is that?
Shalom.
Okay.
So, but the whole family put blame on KBJ because number one, they on-call Dr. Kim Lake to rescue the baby. Number two, the checkup is only, when you admitted. Normally, when the patient is sick, they will have 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 3 hourly checkup. But KPJ only did twice a day. So, what is your strategy to overcome this? How to improvise your service?
Okay, may I answer the second question first? Okay, we are very sorry for the loss for your friend, you're my best friend, nephew. Okay, I think there is always risk associated when it comes to the medical treatment, right? And we in KPG Group has a very stringent standard operating procedures when it comes to the critical diseases like dengue. But we take note of the complaint, and we need to look at our current SOP whether there is still room for improvement in order to serve better of our patients. And as I said, we are truly sorry for the loss. Thank you.
Okay, for the first question about the payable, the increasing of payable in 2010 to 2011, it is because the KP KPJ Bardai is going to expand the hospital, so they need to buy the equipment and all of those things in hospital. So when they are when this is still in development, so they can for the additional for that, the increasing of the payables is because of the trade payables and also the accruals that they increased from 2010 and 2011.
Okay. Next.
I have a question. This is also related to Ain's situation, which is happened to my mother, because last year, as a mother of the shareholders, my mother was coma. I think coma for high blood pressure because of the brain aneurysm. And as I know that
Which hospital is this?
Hospital Ampang Puteri.
Okay.
Okay, as I know that KPJ is actually a specialist hospital, right? So in terms of level of services, because the hospital is actually a specialist, my mother instead being transferred to another specialist hospital, because they said that the reason is the doctor is not able to do the operation because it is a brain, and then the doctor itself said that it is my mom only have 30% of chances to live, instead of when I went to the another hospital, private hospital, and then they say that we can do it, just pray to Allah, and he said that it gives our courage. But as I mentioned before, the mother of shareholders are not able to receive the treatment at KPJ itself. What are the incomes or any plan that you want to do?
Thank you, Cik Fatin, for sharing that moment. As we know, in the specialists, there are actually certain specialization that not available at all branches or at a certain hospital. For example, in government hospital, if you want to do a scan on your cardiopulmonary thing, in Johor, basically you need to go to Hospital Pakar Sultanah Aminah, or the other alternative is at Hospital Sertang, because it's mainly because of the equipment and also on the specialist that is available. And if I'm not mistaken, the neurologist in Malaysia, the one that specialization in the brain surgery and brain related matters, as far as I know, is only 3 in Malaysia. So that is one of the constraints that not only faced by KPJ Group but at other hospitals as well. And talking about the case, right? So one of the procedure that we have is that after the prognosis, so if we believe that our hospital doesn't have the ability and the capability to proceed with the treatment, so we're going to transfer the patient to the convenient branches or to the other specialists that have all those presentation, so that we wouldn't take the risk to the patient. Although in business we're going to lose the revenue, right? But at the end of the day, life matters the most. Thank you.
Yeah, the question to that. Ada question? Yes.
According to reserve statement of financial positions, note 31, why your reserve or equity reserve can be the double up of amount to 600 million.
Why? How?
Why you spend too large for the reserve?
Reserve.
Okay, thank you, Tehazi, for the question. I think we have mentioned earlier on during the presentation that in 2011 we are actually increased our reserve compared to 2010. So one of the things that we did is to reduce the dividend payment by 6%. So this is basically to fund the expansion and growth of the current hospital, and also the opening of new branches, apart from the borrowings that we have done from the financial institution. So this is part of the in-house funding that we use to fund for the projects.
Reserve are basically accumulated profit. So if it is not paid as dividend, then it will become reserve. So it is not an asset or an expense.
But Prof, can we use that reserve for the expansion and the growing of the company?
Yes, yes. Actually, once it is in the reserve, that is the credit side. The debit side is asset lah. It will be used to buy properties or whatever.
Yeah.
Dear Chairman, what are the initiatives that have been done by KPJ to increase their level of services, especially their workforce education, their staff education? So what are the initiatives that have been done?
Thank you for the question, Tehani. As we know, KPJ not only focusing on the hospital services, but we also have the ancillary businesses like the provider of the medical equipment and medicines, as well as the KPJ Nursing College. So KPJ Nursing College is actually a good example of how we create and pool the talent of highly competitive and highly skilled nurse that after they finish the college, right, so they will directly absorb into the hospital network. And the college is actually has a high standard, and the entrance also have the high standard. So that is one of the things that we do in order to maintain the quality of service that we provide to the customer or to the patient. And apart from that, we are also actively seeking for good specialists and consultants around Malaysia as well as abroad, in order to provide, as we mentioned, the full continuum of care that include as much as possible care needs to the patient, from gynecology, pediatrics, surgery and all that. So we would rest assured that we are actually really active in increasing our quality services and also improving our performance. because as I mentioned, the competition in this industry is really fierce, and even some of the well-known hospitals also were able to, make a good profit as we did in KPJ Group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. But I want to add some points that instead of having the nursing college, especially to train for the staff, KPJ also send their doctors or else to overseas or to continue their education in the higher level, especially in PhD.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Soalan ke? Remark ke?
Statement.
Okay. Lagi soalan? Okay. Now, my turn lah. Okay, first of all, look at the receivable. Actually, the receivable in the company is growing, and the receivable actually account for about 15% of sale. 15% of sale, and 300 million is not small money actually, and then we relate this with the bad debt. If we look at the cash flow statement, in the cash flow statement, dia ada dua bad debt. Satu bad debt written off, satu lagi bad debt recovered. The bad debt written off tu is 871,000. 871,000, and so maknanya the company is suffering quite substantial amount of bad debt relatively. Tapi then ada bad debt recovered 393,000. What does that mean?
Okay, we hope this is the correct answer. Okay, I think one of the reason for the bad debt recovery as well as the bad debt written off is because of the dispose of its entire interest in Rumah Sakit Bumi Serpong Damai building, Keluang Utama Specialist Hospital building, and Bandar Baru Kelang Specialist Hospital building to Al-Akrar Healthcare Real Estate Investment for a proposed total sales consideration of 138 million. Apart from the asset held for sale, we also did some of the write-off of the debt related to these entities before we offered them for the sale.
No, the gain or losses from the disposal to would be accounted as capital gain to separate. But bad debt is related to receivable lah. Basically, when you cannot collect your bill from the patient, then it become bad debt. Tapi then, how did you recover back? So mula-mula you write off 871,000, Then at the same year, you also recovered 393,000.
I think, thank you, Prof, for the explanation. I think one of the means that we use to recover the bad debt is actually via the insurance. Those patients who have the policy insurance and get to the treatment at KPJ Healthcare, so we managed to claim the insurance from the insurer, and that helps significantly in our bad debt recovery. And yeah, for the bad debt written off, so one of the reasons might be because they don't have a insurance policy, or they don't have the next of kin that would be able to pay for the medical bills. So after much effort done to collect the revenue, so there is sometimes the dead end. So that's why after the decision, we write off the debt.
Another question is on the prospect of the company. Now that we see that there is a few giant in the medical industry. We have the one medical center that has been listed. That is actually the biggest medical group in the region. Then we have Sandabi, and there is they are also building another one at the University of Malaya, TPM center that will be expanded drastically. So how do you think that this will affect your prospect in the future, and how would you prepare for this eventual consequence in the future?
Okay, thank you for the question. We are fully aware of the competitors in the industry, and the listing of the IHH is basically something that we need to look at. But for the KPJ Group, as we mentioned earlier on, we have actually a strong customer base that really believe and always get the treatment from the group. And the expanding of and opening of the new branches was put under the Economic Transformation Program announced in 10 November 2011 by the Yang Berhormat Prime Minister. And the key focus of this expansion is actually on the medical tourism. So this is actually a new tourism type that we are going to embark to. Actually we have already, but we're going to improve it in Malaysia in terms of for the international customer to get a best quality treatment in Malaysia. So we are actually working closely with the related government agency because we believe that the medical tourism industry has a very large potential, and KPJ is targeting the raise of the revenue contribution from this segment to as high as 25% by 2020. So that's why, in order to prepare for that capacity required in 2020, so we are expanding now, so that by the time comes, we are fully ready to be a key player in the medical tourism.
Other question on it? Okay, one final question about the cash flow statement. We commended the company or the group for their ability to generate substantial cash flow from operation, 257 million, which is actually almost double the profit from operation. Yeah, 257 million, and the profit from operation is only 154 million. So, but if we look clearly, how this was able to be achieved was because the company has increased their payable. Basically, your payables is increased by 35 million. Some deferred revenue. So the question is, how realistic is this cash flow from operation? I mean, is it a good indications of cash flow profit or not?
We think that it is a significant improvement because having this increase in the operating profit, operating profit, cash flow generated from operation means that we managed to get more customers to get the service at KPJ Group. So increase in customers means increase in revenue, then increase in the cash that we generated. So the challenge now is to maintain or further increase the numbers of patients that are seeking treatment from the hospital.
Ada question lain? Okay, well done. Thank you very much.
We gon' celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you